Dauster. The other gentleman you see on the screen right there is the one and only Jeffrey Goodman. If you are listening to this in the podcast apps, give us 1 second as we allow the feed to populate. Jeffrey, I just hit that retweet button. What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm all right. Got what do we got today? Today's kind of a little bit of a slower day. It's kind of weird, though. You look through the slate for tonight, and it hit me that all the mids and lows all play on the weekend. They all play back-to-back games. It hit me today that it's like all high majors, which is it's just so strange. There's not a ton of games, but it's a ton of the Power 5 or 6 games, conference games. So I think it's kind of cool. We got our first net rankings yesterday. That was exciting, wasn't it?
Almost as exciting as getting the notification bell in the middle of a live stream. It is what it is. You got to embrace the nonsense from Jeff Goodman. All right. So before we get into tonight's slate, we do have to talk a little bit about what happened last night. Maryland, Indiana. Indiana won. Trace Jackson Davis looked awesome. My biggest takeaway was both of those teams are kind of not very good.
Yeah, I mean, at least Indiana has a star. And if they can get better guard play, and they were without Armand Franklin, he got hurt early in the game. So that I think that affected them. I think Indiana is like, a 10 seed at the end of the day because of the strength of the Big Ten. And they're going to get enough opportunities and they're going to get enough wins, especially at home, that they'll be okay. Now, again, they get hurt as much as almost anybody. They get hurt by no fans, no home court, advantage, because they're one that certainly takes advantage of that more than just about anybody. But it was a good win. Trace Jackson Davis gutted it out. He got hurt and absolutely dominated in the second half when they needed him to. But I'm with you. You need to win those games. Those are the games that, you have to win.
Yeah, that was a pretty on-brand performance, I think, from Trace Jackson Davis in the sense that he kind of is known a little bit for beating up on teams that can't really match up with him inside and maybe not doing as well against teams that have big guys that can match up with him. And if there's one thing that we know about Maryland, it is that they don't really have all that much size on the interior. And to your point, that Maryland is 1-4 in the Big Ten right now, right? And they are still a top 50 win on KenPom. They're still a quad 2 win on the net. So that just kind of tells you exactly what you're going to end up with in the Big Ten, right? They're going to end up having a resume that looks really, really, really good at the end of the day. And if they can get to 500 in league play, which is probably doable for them. I don't know if it's the safest bet in the world, but I can certainly see them getting there. That should be enough to get them in the dance. And at the end of the day, if you're Archie Miller, that fan base is expecting you to be a lot better than you are. Ding! But you have to start somewhere, right? You have to you got to
get in. Yeah. Right. Get in, and this year you get in, and who the hell knows what's going to happen down in Indiana, which is where the NCAA tournament was officially announced will be held yesterday at several venues, including the house that Robbie Hummel built, Mackey Arena.
The house that Robbie Hummel
not
built.
Rick now
with all those bricks, huh?
Wow, that's rough. Right.
All right, so the big game of the day yesterday, which is actually something that's probably a little bit more interesting to talk about, is West Virginia coming back from 19 down in the final 11 minutes to beat Oklahoma State in Stillwater. There are a couple things to take away from this game, and we definitely need to talk about West Virginia and this new kind of small ball look that they're going after. But even in the loss, and even with the fact that they blew like a 19-point lead, I think this was the game where you kind of saw, maybe for the first time, just how special Cade Cunningham has the potential to be. And the reason that I say that is we saw him overpower people going to the basket. We saw the ability that he has to get people off balance with the dribble moves. We saw, he hit a three when someone went under a screen against him. He hit a couple of catch and shoot threes. And most importantly, the passing ability, like the vision that he has, the one-handed live dribble passes while he's being heavily defended, like all of that stuff showed through as much as in any game that I've seen him play so far this season. Like this was the first time where I was really like, well, okay, that's what you're getting when you're getting Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, and for me, it brought back kind of the visions of every game I saw him in AAU ball, where I just walked away saying, "Oh my God, like I love this kid because he's just a winner who does whatever it takes to win a game." Right? He's got all the intangibles. He makes enough threes. He just gets to the basket and makes plays for himself, for others. Does whatever you need to do. And you're watching him last night, and you're like, to me, I'm just saying, please, NCAA, just wait till after the season. Like right now, they've got that appeal going on. So if the tournament started tomorrow, Oklahoma State would still be eligible for the NCAA tournament. I'm just praying the NCAA furloughs a couple more people that are dealing with that case for a little while, and I'll take care of the money. If you get furloughed, I'll take care of your paycheck, or at least support me and Rob and all the money that has been won on this stream through me over the last month and a half, 2 months. We can take care of your salary for a little while if you can just promise to wait on Oklahoma State and let them play in the NCAA tournament if they make it.
Well, here's the thing. I think that there's an actual chance that they could end up getting this appeal overturned. And it may not matter because I don't know if this is a tournament team. But, I mean,
why do you say that?
Because of what happened with Alabama. I would argue that what happened at Alabama is worse because you basically had someone from the athletic department, and I think it was technically an associate AD, I believe was the job title, doing the exact same thing that Lamont Evans was doing. And Alabama didn't get a 1 year.
You know why?
Postseason ban because the dude used to work at the NCAA.
Because the NCAA basically referred him.
Yes,
referred him. So how can they're not hammering Alabama there? I just don't.
That's the thing.
I don't think they're going to change it because I think if you change it with Oklahoma State, now maybe they do. Maybe the NCAA in the pandemic and everything that's going on says, you know what, we're not going to hammer people as hard as we were. We're going to take it easy on some of these guys and let's just move forward. I don't think that happens, but maybe they have a little bit of a heart and they say, you know what, you don't deserve a 1 year postseason ban for this. To me, the bigger thing, Rob, the bigger thing that needs to happen, postseason bans are fine for the most egregious issues, right? But ultimately, just hit these schools where it counts, which is money. Just hammer the shit out of them, money-wise, instead of hurting kids that had nothing to do with it. Most of them. You're talking three years ago now. This is stupid.
But the biggest problem, you're not even referencing the biggest problem, Jeff. Like the whole point of postseason bans is to punish someone for cheating to get a competitive advantage. That is the definition of cheating. What Lamont Evans did was not about getting a competitive advantage. Lamont Evans was trying to line his own damn pockets. Everything that he was doing was for the benefit of himself and at the cost of the players that he was victimizing. Like he victimized Jeffrey Earl by taking a bribe and by referring him to a financial advisor that one Google search would have told you embezzled $2.35 million of his former client's money to make a movie with Misha Barton. That is what this dude did. And then he flipped and he went to the FBI and he said, look, I know that I'm an actual white collar criminal that should be doing 5 or 6 years in prison for being a raging asshole. Yeah. But instead, I'm going to turn you on to a bunch of college basketball coaches that are just operating within the framework.
What a waste of time. What a waste of everybody's time and money this all was.
It is. And like the biggest thing that I just it frustrates me to no end is Lamont Evans was not doing this for the benefit of anybody other than Lamont Evans. And the people that are actually paying the price right now are going to be people that had absolutely nothing to do with it, right? Yeah. And if you want to say, look, Mike Boynton, you have to know what's going on within your program. Yes, I get that. But you also have to understand that Mike Boynton cannot patrol somebody that is out there taking bribes.
He had just taken over too. So even the Mike Boynton part of it, like he just got the head job. So I don't even know. Like if you want to say like Sean Miller, Andy Enfield, Bruce Pearl, all those guys had been there for a while. And if you want to hit them with suspensions, fine, albeit right and hammer the hell out of Book and Lamont Evans and Tony Bland. Okay, you know what? Nail them. They're done. They'll never coach again in college basketball. I get all that. But you're right. Listen, they were all basically just trying to make some extra money. And I've heard plenty of stories over the years that this has been part of the deal, right? Like with agents, not only giving them money, but giving them like trips, giving them like cruise, like trips, like all that stuff. if you're an agent, you're trying to get every advantage you can to get a client. So what are you going to do? You're going to pay off the people that have the juice. And the people that have the juice, a lot of times, are the college assistant coaches.
Yep. And so the biggest issue here, and then we can go to West Virginia after this, is just that we always harp on the fact that you're punishing people that didn't commit the crime. And that's just the way that it is always going to work in college sports, because you can't fine the people themselves once they leave leave the sport. Like if you're an assistant that got caught in trouble with recruiting stuff, and you leave and you go somewhere else, like the NCAA can't fine you. That's just not how it works.
Well, Orlando Early. Orlando Early is a great example, right?
Yeah,
the only way now he's in the NBA and he's never going to talk to the NCAA. He doesn't need to. He's done.
Yeah, and so like you can't actually punish the people that committed the crime. So the only thing that you can do is punish the institutions so that they police themselves and they say, okay, we're not going to allow this to happen, because if we do, then as a university and as an entity, we're going to get punished. But like that only works to a certain point, especially when you have these guys out there that are willing to do. I mean, look, I think it's dumb that it was a criminal act, but it really was a criminal act. Like Lamont Evans went to prison for what he did. He went to prison. And we're worried about like Oklahoma State or the NCAA is worried about taking away a year in the postseason because one guy accepted a bunch of bribes that had nothing to do. He didn't bring anyone to the program. It had nothing to do with recruiting.
All right, let's get back on.
It gets me all fired.
West Virginia,
right,
let's go.
West Virginia.
McBride was good. Culver was dominant. No Big Sheeb, and honestly, I think it's more effective as long as Culver plays the way he did, and he started off a little slow, but ended up with 22 and 19. I thought Deuce McBride was kind of the key in the second half. He was great down the stretch. And again, West Virginia is a team that they got to get into a rhythm somehow. They got to be able to score points, and they can't keep fighting from behind. They did it against Oklahoma, fought back, tied the game, lost. Last night they fight back. They end up winning. Big win again. I don't completely trust West Virginia, but I do want Bob Huggins to go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm bullish on them long term, just because I think that like they have to change what they're doing, right? What they were before was kind of this team that was built around being, possession by possession, half court. We're going to go attack the glass. We're going to just beat you up physically, and that's not what they are right now. They're going to be playing more spread. They're going to put 4 shooters around Derek Culver. They need to be able to get up and down more. I mean, Fran was talking about it on the broadcast last night. They got to kind of embrace the press Virginia mentality a little bit, and that's going to be tough when you don't have Javon Carter and you don't have Daxter Miles kind of anchoring everything.
Kedrian Johnson was good last night.
Mm-hmm.
He was really, really good. Like I didn't know much about him, but he played hard as shit. Like he fits the press Virginia kind of that mantra.
Yep. I mean, Taz Sherman made some shots. What's his name? Jalen Bridges made shots the other night against Oklahoma. So like, I don't think it's a coincidence with the way that this roster is built that when West Virginia kind of went into scramble mode the last 2 games is when you saw them have the most success. So why not try to make that scramble mode stuff happen before you're down by 20 points?
Right.
So, I mean, I'm bullish on them long term. I don't think they're going to be necessarily as good as we thought they could be, like when they had Big Sheeb. Yeah. But I do think that like long term, they're going to be better than what we've seen the last 2 games. So I still think that they're like in a month, we're going to look up and they're still going to be a top 15 team.
Big game today.
What you got? What's the biggest one?
BU playing Holy Cross. Both teams wearing masks today. Big one. Yesterday, it was weird watching it. I don't know if you watched any of it, but I flipped it on for a little while. And it was just strange watching BU play with masks, Holy Cross not wearing masks. Now, today the game's at BU, so all the games at BU,
everyone's got to wear a mask.
Both teams have to wear them. But they weren't wearing them above the nose. They were kind of – some people were wearing them to here, some people were wearing them under here. So it'd be interesting. Maybe I'll try to talk to a player after that of like what it's like. Maybe we'll get a BU player on one of our pods, what it's like playing with masks. Now, again, is there much of an effect if you're just playing with it over your face as opposed to having to play with it?
It is. I'm sure it's a distraction. It's the same thing when people have the masks on, when they break their nose, like it messes everybody up. So I'm sure it's a thing, but it's also, I mean, I get why they're doing it. I went on this rant the other day, but like,
yeah, but if you're playing the game anyway, okay, so you're playing the game at Holy Cross, they're not wearing masks. why the hell are you mandating they wear masks when they come to BU a day later? Like, you just played them when they didn't wear masks. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's. I mean, honestly, the fact that we're playing sports right now, like we're not allowed to gather in big groups to go travel for Christmas, to go travel for Thanksgiving, but we're allowed to gather in big groups and travel to play basketball games. So unpaid amateurs are able to go and make money for universities in the NCAA. Like, the whole thing is just it's.
But
I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's just
95% of the teams are playing, according to one shtick boy. Anyway.
I think that's the first time we've gotten that on this stream. All right, so tonight's games. I kind of want to start with Rutgers at Michigan State, because this is a line that makes absolutely no sense to me. Michigan State is giving Rutgers 2 points, and Jeffrey, tell me why I shouldn't bet the entire account on Rutgers +2.
Because when you look across the court and you're Steve Peichel and you see Tom Izzo, you just worry. You can't feel great about it. You can feel good about it, but you cannot feel great about putting your house on everything on Rutgers here. You just can't. Like, I get it. I just think, and I understand, like, the Michigan State respect, no matter what, right? I mean, Kentucky's got it too. If you look at their line, we'll talk about it in a little bit. They've got it too. The name does carry some weight with regards to bettors. And I think that's the case here with Michigan State being a 1.5 point favorite. They're at home, but there's not a huge home court advantage, obviously. Rutgers is clearly the better team. They've got Ron Harper Jr. back. It's a stay away from me, because it just scares the hell out of me. Even though Michigan State isn't very good. And Rutgers,
so it's not a stay away from me. It's my favorite bet of the day. Rutgers is favored by 1 on Ken Pom. They are a better defensive team. They are much better offensively. They have better guards. They have the best player on
everything. If you line it up, the only thing you're giving the advantage to is coaching for Michigan State.
And you are, but it's also Steve Peichel's pretty damn good at his job.
I know, but he's not Tom Izzo. Yes.
No, I get what you're saying, but it's
it's like he's coaching against some schlump who, AAU coach or something like that with a big cowboy hat on.
I'm trying to think of like who I could throw out there that wouldn't get pissed at me if I said his name. So like
Mark Gottfried
out there.
Mark Gottfried.
Yeah, there you go. It's not like that. Where's the picture? Get the picture out. Actually, don't get the picture.
Takes too much work.
But I love Rutgers in this spot. You have to assume eventually Michigan State is going to figure it out. And like Aaron Henry had 27 against Nebraska, and they started AJ Hoggard at the point, and he ended up being pretty good. He had 5 assists and 1 turnover, but it was also against Nebraska.
Right.
So I don't think that they're back yet. They still have major issues at the 5. They still have we're starting a freshman point guard because Rocket Watts can't do it and Foster Lawyer just isn't good enough.
Yeah.
Aaron Henry, I'll tell you what, if Aaron Henry has kind of figured things out, then I think that changes some things for him. But I still, there's no way in my mind that Rutgers should be getting 2 points in this spot. So it's just, there's too much value there for me. Okay. I'll be on the Rutgers money line to be able to get that done. So the next game that I wanted to talk about, because I really want your take on this, and I don't even know if you've thought about it yet, but Missouri -2 at Mississippi State, because I know what you're going to say. I know
it's a sucker bet. It looks like a sucker bet. That's what I'm going to say. I mean, like this one looks even worse to me, way worse than Rutgers, Michigan State. Like, Ben Howland isn't Tom Izzo, number one, and I think Missouri is every bit as good as Rutgers right now. I do. I feel like they're getting no respect here. So if you like Rutgers, to me, Rob Dauster, you have to love Mizzou in this spot.
So no, I don't.
Okay.
I'm on the Mississippi State money line here. I already got my bet in. It's +112, and here's why. So my first inclination was like, why the hell is Missouri only -2 against Mississippi State? But you take a deeper dive into it, right? Mississippi State lost their first 2 games of the season to Clemson and Liberty, who both have turned out to be pretty good teams. They're good defensively.
Sure.
And those games that came without their leading scorer, Iverson Molinar. What Mississippi State does offensively is they kind of let Iverson and DJ Stewart go out there and rock. Like both those guys are averaging 18 points a game on a team that averages like 60 possessions. Like they give it to their two guys, they let them go make plays, and that's kind of what they do. So if they're missing one of them, then they're probably going to lose against well-coached, good defensive teams. Yeah. So they're 6-4 on the season overall. We just talked about two of their losses. Their other two losses at Dayton in double overtime, which, I mean, Dayton's not great, but on the road against a pretty good Atlantic 10 team in double overtime is not like a horrible loss. And then at home the other day in double overtime to Kentucky in a game where some guy off the bench comes in and scores 23 points in the second half. So there are two losses where they didn't have their leading scorer, and it's two kind of fluke double overtime losses. So to me, like, yes, they're 6-4, but I think that they might be a little undervalued at this point. So let's go to the actual matchup itself. What Missouri wants to do offensively is they run ball screen after ball screen after ball screen. And when they go up against teams that cannot guard those ball screens, like Illinois with Kofi Coburn or Arkansas with Connor Vanover at the 5, then they can really get it going. And Jared Tillman has an awesome day, and they look awesome, and they look unbelievable. When they go up against teams that actually know how to guard ball screens, like a Bradley, like a Tennessee, then Missouri looks like they have no idea what they're doing offensively. Now, Mississippi State is not as good as Tennessee defensively, but if you go back and look at their synergy numbers, this is how it kind of breaks down. When they go up against ball screens, they're really good against the ball handler, and they're really good when that ball handler tries to throw the ball back to the roll man, because they really just help off, and they force you to make kick-out passes, and they try to run you off the three-point line. Well, Missouri shoots 27% from three on the season. Like the whole reason that they struggle with anything except ball screens is because they can't shoot. They can't space the floor. So to me, like the matchup just kind of screams, okay, well, Mississippi State does all these things well, and they're undervalued, and they're going up against a Missouri team that just that won a game because they completely took advantage of the one matchup that they won't be able to take advantage of against Mississippi State. So I love the Bulldogs in the spot. I'll be on the money line here as well.
All right, I'm going to make it real simple for everybody watching. Mississippi State got a combined 42 points out of Iverson Molinar and DJ Stewart against Georgia. Okay, they both played well. They actually shot 16 of 34. They played very well. Do you know what happened in that game? They lost to Georgia. Georgia stinks. Missouri would beat Georgia by 50. I'm taking Missouri. As much as you love Rutgers, that's how much I love Missouri.
All right. See, I knew. For the people that are watching and listening right now, I texted Jeff this morning. I was like, "We're gonna go at it over a couple picks today." So this is absolutely.
I hate your pick of Mississippi State. I hate it. I hate it.
And I'm probably gonna get it wrong, man, because you're at like a 60.3% clip on the season. And
40 games over 500.
I just broke 500 because I went 4-3 yesterday. So you're probably want to listen to Jeff. But in my head,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
In my head, that analysis makes sense.
I'm just saying this one. I really like Missouri in this one.
We have a lot of other games today.
Yeah, let's get to
them. Let's stick with the high major ones and just kind of roll through them real quick. Sure. You got any take on Kansas State at Texas Tech? Texas Tech laying 15.5.
I mean, listen, if I'm doing it, I'm laying the points. I think Kansas State stinks. But I guess I will. Yeah, I you know what? I'm convincing myself to take Texas Tech. What is it, -16?
Yeah, I mean, Kansas State stinks, but that total is 125. And that's a lot of points against a team that like has not been very good offensively. There's one thing you know about Bruce Weber teams is like they're going to at least compete on the defensive end. So
yeah, I'm not touching it. After second thought, I'm not touching it.
It's a stay away from
like a 64-50 final or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be, and Kansas State is going to cover because the game's going to be played in the 50s. All right,
I hate those late. I hate those games late where, again, it's like 16 point spread. Texas Tech has clearly won the game. They're putting in their scrubs at the end and they blow it for you. Like I hate that, and that's what you're going to rely on in that game. So
there's nothing better than a good sweat hoping that a walk-on misses the jumper at the end of the game.
That's right. I can't do it. I haven't gotten the full scout from Chris Beard on his scout team, on his walk-on. So until I get that, I can't feel good about giving 6.
All right, Clemson -5 against NC State.
Boy, I want to go Clemson so bad here. but I also feel like, again, like this is going to be a close game. Like I think Clemson wins, but I think NC State covers. So, man, oh boy, I don't know. Again, I feel like I don't love this one. I'm going to pass on this one. But if I took it, I would probably take the points in NC State.
I think I would lean towards Clemson here, but it's a pure stay away from me because it's all going to depend on who can assert control over the game, and I don't trust either point guard enough to have like a good feel on who's going to like.
Yep.
Clemson wants to play slow and grind it out defensively. NC State wants to press you and force turnovers and get out and run. So, and I think both teams have both teams are very, very good at forcing turnovers. Both teams have very big question marks at the point guard spot. So it's a pure stay away from me. Alabama -3 at home against Florida.
You know where I'm going with this.
Florida?
No, I'm going Alabama. You know I like Alabama. I've liked them all year. I'm hoping it's not going to be a one-off here where they revert back to the Alabama. Like they're just, again, the thing that worries me with Alabama is you don't always know what you're going to get. But, man, they were good the other day against your boys from Tennessee and blasted the shit out of them. I got to go Bama here. Given 3, little much, but I'm gonna take Bama.
So the only thing that worries me is that the way Bama plays kind of plays into what Florida wants to do, like get up and down the floor. It'll allow Trey Mann to get out and run and Scotty Lewis to kind of be effective in transition. I like the over here. I just think that it's going to be one of those games that is like watching a metronome.
That's actually a good one. What's the over? What is it?
154.5. It's a lot of points, but I think that we're gonna. I like the over in that spot. All right, Kentucky -11.5 at home against Vanderbilt. Are you riding the Dante Allen bounce back?
No, I'm gonna take the points here. I'm gonna get 12, and I'm taking Vandy here. All right, I don't love Vandy. In fact, I don't like Vandy at all. But ultimately, yes, I think Dante Allen is going to probably return to earth a little bit. And unless Brandon Boston gets going, I just think Kentucky, like, that's a lot of points to give. Do you see Kentucky scoring 75 points? Like, they need to score 75.
I mean, it's the perfect sell high spot in Kentucky. They'll probably win. It'll probably be a close game. Kentucky has not blown anybody out. They've won 2 games.
I was going to say, they haven't blown anybody out. They've won 2 friggin' games.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's.
Did you like my tweet last night? My tweet last night that they're 144 in the net, 143 is Samford, which is the AD is Martin.
You make fun of Nordy so much for loving the net, but you love the net. All right, Texas -12 at home against Iowa State.
Well, I'm not taking Iowa State. That's for damn sure. If I took anybody, it'd be Texas. But coming off that win against Kansas, I'm staying away from that one.
It feels like a good sell high spot, but like you don't want to be on Iowa State. North Carolina at Miami. Chris Likes will not be playing. Miami is getting 2 points.
I will take North Carolina then. If Chris Likes is not playing, I will take North Carolina in that one. I just think their bigs are going to be too much for Miami to handle. Poor Nasir Brooks. He's going to feel like it's just like a boxing match, and they just keep coming at him and they keep pounding at him, and eventually he's going to go down and fall. So I like Carolina in this one.
I like Carolina there as well, even though it never feels comfortable betting on this Carolina team. UCF getting a point at home against Memphis. I'm assuming that we're both going to be on the UCF money line there.
No, because you don't know. Like, I feel like at some point Memphis is going to surprise some people and get a couple good wins. I don't know when it's going to be, but again, Memphis is one of those teams that I just don't feel comfortable. And UCF isn't very good. Like, they just lost to USF. So, like, I'm going to go Memphis. I'm going to go Memphis in that one. How's that? You go UCF.
I'm not betting it.
Okay. I'm going to go Memphis.
I'm not taking it. Here's another one of the picks that I actually do like is UConn at Marquette. The UConn money line is +104. They are getting a 1.5. I just don't think Marquette is very good. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games and 4 of their last 6. The game that they just won came at Georgetown when they had to come back from like 13 down in the first half to win that game. They also won at at Creighton, and they've beaten Wisconsin, but I don't know. I just think that the 2 things that UConn does best really match up well with what Marquette wants to do. UConn can chase people off the three-point line really, really effectively. Marquette shoots 38% from three, and they pound the offensive glass. They're second nationally in offensive rebounding percentage, and Marquette has not been good on the defensive boards this season. So you put all that together, I think UConn goes in there. First game of a 3-game road trip in the Big East, and they go into Milwaukee, and they pick off the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, listen, if I'm doing anything, I'm going with UConn, but I'm not touching that one either. I like a couple others. Anything else that we've forgotten about? Kansas, TCU. Kansas giving 6 at TCU. I feel like TCU's record against Bill Self, though, is pretty – like they've beaten him a couple times in Fort Worth. So, I'm going to go Kansas. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm not, because Marcus Garrett is hurt. He's day-to-day. So, honestly, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till right before the game. If Marcus Garrett's playing, maybe I'll take Kansas, but I'm not touching it yet.
Yeah, I thought that the line would be closer to like 3.5 or 4, and I was like, that's a really good buy low spot in Kansas. And then I see it at 6, and I'm like, I don't want to take it at 6. So it'll be a stay away for me as well. There are 3 other lines that I do want to mention. We've been doing this whole fade the back-to-backs, right?
Yeah, it hasn't worked yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, it worked in 3 of the 4.
It did?
Yeah, it worked in 3 of the 4. But we also messed it up once because Monmouth covered, and then we decided to bet on Monmouth again instead of betting on Siena to cover. So that's where we made the mistake. So it worked on 3 of the 4. We just were 2-2 on the bet. So Holy Cross covered, I think it was 9.5 yesterday. Yeah. So they are up against Boston BU tonight. BU's laying 13.5, which means we got to be on Boston University.
Yeah, I'm up.
And then the other one is Gardner-Webb against Campbell. Campbell beat Gardner-Webb as an underdog last night. They're playing at Gardner-Webb today at 3 o'clock. Gardner-Webb is laying 4.5, so you got to be on the Gardner-Webb, whatever they're called. What are they, Bulldogs?
Bulldogs.
Fighting Chris Clement.
Tim Kraft. The fighting Tim Crafts.
The fighting Chris Clemens. Oh wait, I better not say that because
somebody's going to yell at you
someone's going to accuse me of stealing stuff from.
All right, I like BU as well. We know what happens when Fordham plays, right? What happens?
That's the other one that I have written down.
Right. Fordham plays Mustafa Amzil. Is that his name? This freshman from Dayton who's been killing it.
Ask Sully.
He's been killing it, and obviously Jalen Crutcher. They haven't been good, but they've been really shorthanded. Dayton. I think they'll take their frustrations out on poor Jeff Neubauer today. And then here's one for you. Ready? Here's my total wild card one. Total wild card.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm taking Northern Illinois and the money line plus 905. Plus 905. You heard me right.
It's 950.
950. Okay, even better. I'm going to get it right when we get off. Against Ohio. Ohio, we know, doesn't have Jason Preston, right? They're pretty good. Northern Illinois just fired their coach, Mark Montgomery. And oftentimes, actually, after a firing like this, the troops rally. And they come up with this performance. It's just like out of mind. And I think that's what's going to happen here with Northern Illinois. I think they're going to pull off the greatest upset in the history of Northern Illinois basketball. And they're going to beat Ohio without Jason Preston, Ohio's best player and one of the best mid-major players in the country. And that's going to get you guys a lot of money.
They call that the new coach bounce.
New coach bounce.
I like the logic.
Yeah.
I also like the 15 points if I'm going to be on Northern Illinois. And
probably a smarter man than me on that one, but it's just worth a roll of the dice for me.
Yep. All right. So give me your picks and we'll get out of here.
All right, picks. Mizzou better win. If they don't win, I'm going to be so pissed off tonight that you got that. I'm so pissed. Alabama, Vandy, North Carolina. I'm gonna take Memphis. I'm riding with you, Penny. Come through tonight, baby. BU, Gardner-Webb, fighting Tim Crafts, Dayton, and then I'm taking a little Northern Illinois and a big money line. I mean, that's like giving me a loss. By the way, like think about that. I'm taking a loss.
Oh, we won't count that one. That'll just be we'll count it as the plus 15, but you're calling your shot. Okay. We'll let you call your shot.
All right.
So it's a no loss scenario for you. Because you're just calling your shot, and if they don't lose, whatever.
I like it.
Wow, a 15-point underdog didn't win a basketball game. I'm fucking shocked. All right, so my picks, I like BU laying 13.5.
Yeah.
Gardner Webb laying 4.5. I'm gonna take Dayton because you got to fade Fordham.
Yeah.
It's 12.5 right now, so that's what I'm going to be able to get it at. I am taking the Florida Alabama over. I am on the Rutgers money line.
Yes, you are.
I am on the UConn money line, and I'm on the Mississippi State money line. So that's I got 7 in there today.
I'm telling you, that Mississippi State game is going to be a fucking war.
You know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? Missouri's going to win by 1. So you don't cover, and I don't win the money. I don't.
That would be the worst scenario ever.
That would be awful.
Ever.
We both lose. I mean, that's just that'd be.
If that happens, we're gonna have 2 new people.
Yeah. Producer Mitch is going to be taking over.
That's right, exactly. If that happens, Mitch, be ready in the bullpen.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, we'll see you again tomorrow. Jeffrey, happy betting. I hope you get some winners, and I hope you hit that 950 money line bet.